Hi everyone. Okay, so today I'm taking a deep dive. This is not real fun, but it's productive. Let's talk about finances. I know growing up, I was taught, you just don't talk about money. You don't talk about money, you don't talk about religion, and you don't talk about politics. Those are the three areas that you don't talk about. But money is so vital to talk about within your own household or within community because it really affects your whole entire life. It's right up there. I mean, obviously, your faith is right up there too. Even more important than money is your faith. But let me see. So, money is really important to talk about. I mean, the Bible talks about it a lot. And I'm not going to go there today with any scripture, but just my personal experience with money. I was thinking today, what did I learn? What did I learn about money? When I used to come home, my dad was not a big talker, but one thing he would always say when I came home from school is, "What did you learn today? What did you learn?" And I usually said nothing because I didn't learn a lot in public school. But I didn't learn a lot as far as like, there were definitely gaps in my education, but I did learn many other things just by being there. But okay, so let's talk about what we learned. Let's take this really deep because it's amazing to me. I took some time this morning and I'm like, okay, where are your beliefs coming from with money? Where does it stem from? And of course, when you start your own family, I mean, that was probably the biggest motivator for me to change in my life was starting my family. I had my son. I absolutely was thrilled to be pregnant. I didn't think I could get pregnant. We had tried for a time. I thought God was punishing me and I couldn't have kids and all this stuff. So when I had my firstborn, I was thrilled. I was on cloud nine to be a mother. Okay, so because of being a mother now, my life was so motivated to change. Not only was I saved, but I was now a mother. So let's see. Um, I always, like growing up, kind of was pretty easygoing, good natured. I didn't really need a lot. I did have a lot. My grandmother spoiled me. She gave me things. We went shopping all the time. And I did have a lot. But deep within, I mean, I was always at people's houses and doing stuff and experiences. So, whether that was snowmobiling at the cousins or horse, a little bit of horseback riding or whatever it was, pool parties, etc. I didn't, because it was such a strong, family background, I didn't really need a lot of money to survive. Thinking back about that, I mean, we were just always at each other's houses and it was just always there. Money was always there. Things were always there. Both my parents worked very hard, so I didn't really have to think about money growing up, and I didn't. And when I worked, I actually just blew money. I mean, me and my husband, when we were dating, we just like went to the movies and all that stuff. We didn't have a care in the world. We really didn't worry about money. But once you start having kids, you start your own family and you're dealing with stuff. So my testimony is we were in a trailer for like 23 years. We raised our kids that way. We lived off the grid. And that was by default. I mean, when we moved into the trailer, I didn't think, oh, I'm going to be here for 23 years. I just thought, okay, we're going to be here for a few years. We had an apartment. We had like 3 apartments by then. No, 4 or 5, 6. Yeah, we had apartments already, and we were kind of like, we had our second one on the way, and the apartment we were in, because of fire hazard codes, we could not use the extra room upstairs, so we needed a place to be. And my husband and I liked the trailer. We could picture ourselves there. So that's where it all began for me. My financial journey was right there. So at first I was like, oh, you know what? I'm kind of feeling claustrophobic. I don't know, if I could stay here very long because it's just small and I'm not used to that where we had bigger apartments. But as I got so busy with my kids, the surroundings didn't seem to matter as much. I was busy all the time, feeding my kids, changing diapers, being busy with family, out and about. So I just recently had someone say to me, how did you do that in a trailer? How did you do that? And I said, well, we lived mostly outside the trailer. We were always busy. But when I was home, there was a lot of, staying on top of stuff with a schedule, staying, on the 3 meals a day plus snacks, having dinner on the table at 5 o'clock or whatever when my husband got home, making sure naps were in, very structured, making sure there was a certain bedtime. There was a lot to do. And as I homeschooled, I also had a schedule. There were things that needed to get done, especially when I first started. I was much more structured with the different styles. I was more traditional because I had gone to public school, and then I was a bit more eclectic, and then later on, more into unschooling where the kids have their own interests more and follow their own interests. So that's another story. But when I think about finances, we really didn't have anything. We, with just my husband working and me staying home, we were actually told we were like 3 times below the poverty level. So it was a job where he just wasn't making a lot of money. Some companies just do not pay a lot of money. And he felt like he wasn't going to work all day, all night, and have no time for not me, but his kids and himself, just being wiped out and not having any time at all for anybody and being no good in a sense for anyone. So what we chose to do was for him to be the one working and us to stay home and to actually go without, which when I say go without, it was like counting pennies at one point to do groceries. And you know what? We didn't really suffer. We still had plenty. I used all resources I could. We used WIC, we used food pantries, we used Medicaid. I even knew someone at one point at the electric company who took care of an electric bill for us. Christmas at the dollar store when they were little. There's just so many resources and so many ideas that you can do. So that was the beginning of my financial journey with just trying to get like everything for free. And definitely that worked. It was hard, but it worked. We did get behind in the mortgage and I had a deferment, and that was what I chose to do because I felt like my kids having food on the table is going to be priority. And then from there, just working with the electric company once they had shut us off, and we already had a payment arrangement with them and the communication fell through. So that kind of thing. And then using our income taxes usually to catch up at the end of the year with stuff that we needed or bills to get paid or things we wanted. But so that was a really wonderful time because what we did was we chose to go that way so that we could build our family. And I shared from my past video, just coming from a messy background with family, one divorce after another, an uncle in jail for cocaine, stealing from my grandfather, writing false checks. All the stuff that was going on around me. And then when I got saved, I said, you know what? I want better for my kid. And I went to church and I was saved. I heard the gospel, turned everything around, had a real strong hand on my family. I read constantly. My kids were playing outside. I would pick up a book and read. And because I read, and it's the number one thing I recommend for changing your life is reading, I was able to take information that I never heard before, tons of books that when I was in school, we didn't really do a lot with books. I don't know if it wasn't in the budget or what, but we just didn't have a lot of book work. So, anyways, so I was able to take new information, things I never heard, things I was not taught, although I graduated early from school, just things I did not know, and turn my life around. And so from there, I did that, and then I raised my kids. I had books on every single area: marriage, child training, how you can be frugal. I had, people in the church with their advice and different classes under my belt. I remember taking a financial boot camp class that was helpful, but most of the classes, there was another class too with Ron Blue, as a book, as a resource, and most of that was for people who had money. So I really had to figure out, how do you do money when you don't have enough money coming in? And I know you can do everything you can, but when you don't have it, you don't have it. And I remember my dad saying that, like, you can work, you can do everything, but if you don't have it, you don't have it. And we definitely can manage money. It's not how much you make, it's how you manage it. But when there isn't enough coming in, it's really difficult. So that's kind of what I went through. And I became, coming from a materialistic background where, the nicest clothes in school had to be worn, or, going out to eat with my grandmother all the time, to just having stuff. So that was that. And then we moved into where we are right now, which we are moving sometime soon. And going from something like a trailer to 3 times more with your rent has been a big move, and we've been really fine because I've been working. We've been doing good. But this move is an unexpected expense because the seller is the owner selling, and so here's another stress. And what do we do with this? Moving is expensive. It can be expensive. So today I'm looking at the budget, and I'm looking back, and I'm saying, what are the things that we learned about money? What did our family teach us about money? You can go from one extreme to having somebody be a taker in life, and they just want to go out to eat all the time. They don't want to pay for their food. They expect others to do that, to people who are really frugal or controlling with money, where they say, you don't need that, you don't need that, and almost like a moral shaming for even getting like a coffee down the road. So not that I drink coffee, but so there is a lot there. And also, when you are busy all the time raising your kids, having some takeout or having a relief of saying, okay, mom cooks all the time, I need a break now, how even something like that can back up your budget big time. Or feeling like, okay, I need to take good care of myself. I need to, there's other trials going on in your life, and you need extra care in life. That can cost a lot. So some thoughts real quick, and I'll probably dig into this deeper at another time. In where I grew up, we didn't really talk about money, so there wasn't a lot of money advice given. But I do remember hearing, pay yourself first, make something out of your life, and where you're going to be in 5 years. What are you going to be doing with your life? And I remember thinking, I have no idea. I was totally lost after high school. I had no idea what I was doing. I tried college, and that wasn't working. I tried hairdressing school, and then I was pregnant with my firstborn and graduated when I was pregnant with him. But I still didn't have a lot of direction. And once I had him, I knew that my passion was to be a mother and to build a family. So that became my passion in life, and it still is. There is such a big difference in your life coming from a broken family to building your family. It says in scripture, a wise woman builds her home. The foolish tears it down with her hands. And when you're coming from just about nothing, except you've learned, like I said, my family came from the projects. So when you have those kind of beliefs, and I'm not saying everyone who comes from the projects, it's wrong, but it's very hard to overcome. And my family, a lot of them did overcome quite a bit, and became very productive in society. But when you come from that, even a good 30, 40 years of them coming from that, it's still very difficult to succeed in life with living a good life. And I'm not talking about on the outside, but I'm talking about the principles in life. And so as I constantly took biblical principles and tried to incorporate them in my life constantly changed. So I'm on another journey financially, between coming from nothing to having more, materialistically with this home, to now saying, okay, shape up even better. You know, where did you get this belief? I had a city grandmother who had her beliefs, and I had a country grandmother who was very frugal. You know, even saying, you know, takeout adds up with kids, and just a little bit of stuff from her, not much, but even like, you know, they would go once a month to get their spices stocked up in the country. So living off the land, being very frugal, that was a very good example to me with money. You know, I remember learning to hide your money when you're at the bank. You know, don't take your money and just not be discreet about it when you get out of the bank. Little things. And I think when you have your own family, I know for me, a lot of it was just picking it up with my kids too. Like, okay, you're going to go pay the electric with me. You're going to go pay the rent with me. And we're going grocery shopping together. Bring your kids along and teach them stuff. You're going to do a budget. You're going to pay rent when you're old enough. And when you charge your kids, it's not for you, it's for their benefit, because they have to learn how to deal with their money. So I'll be going into this too, along with marriage advice, financial advice, and how to kind of pull it all together to make it work. But I would definitely recommend digging in deep, see where you got that advice, what makes you think the way you do. I know once I was married, one of the best things that happened is I was dating my husband, and I was in the store for hours. I mean, I was like materialistic, and I was shopping for clothes for work, and I came out with this huge armful, like 2 or 3 bags worth of clothes. I can't believe I did this now. And I had my hands overflowing, and he's like, where in the world were you? I've been waiting in the car. And I had just gotten a credit card, and I like went bonkers with my credit card, and he took it, and we got home, and he was just like chopping it up. This is dating. And he's like, the stupid credit card, you know, I can't believe you spent $800 or whatever it was on clothes. So that was kind of something that started in his, you know, his upbringing with money was really tight with money, although he didn't really, like, he would blow money when he was working. But yeah, so looking at those things and figuring out, you know, from our parents, from our in-laws, from different people in our life, the community, where did we learn about money? And if you've got the gaps there, get in there and figure out how to do things better. I think using your community resources is one of the best examples. You know, using people who know about money, going to the bank, you know, getting more books. That's something that I've done recently, getting a lot more books and getting in there and saying, let's get your finances as healthy as possible. So, okay, thanks for joining me, guys.